What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I have a very special guest with me, and we're going to be talking about when's the best time for you to go full-time in your parking lot striping business. But before we get to the subject, I do want to mention a couple of things. First of all, I want to say that if you are looking at getting into parking lot striping and you want some training, be sure to check out the How to Stripe course. It will be the first link in the pinned comment section and the description. It's an 8-hour training. You can log in, log out, work at your own pace, educational platform so that you can start striping and, get into the industry, so on and so forth. Also, if you're getting some equipment, you want to add some equipment to the fleet, or you want to buy your first parking lot striping machine, whatever the case may be, if you're interested in that, go check out mystripingstore.com. It will be the second link in the pinned comment section and the description right under how to stripe. Go pick up Titans, Gracos, line drivers. We've got all sorts of equipment that you can pick from in order to start your parking lot striping business today. All sorts of stuff from machines, paint, hoses, chalk, all sorts of stuff. So go check out mystripingstore.com if you want to pick up some parking lot striping equipment, and that'll help you, get started, blah, 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 blah. So there's that. And then one more thing before we get into the subject of the video, I do want to cover this as well. So not only do we offer the courses and equipment, all that stuff, but also in-person training as well. This is super important if you're wanting to get into the industry. Be sure to check out the in-person training form. This is important because you're going to learn how to get the in-person training that you need to go out and land gnarly jobs. Our testimonials are right here. Guys landing 75K, 100K, 15K, 8K, 13K, 38K, 116. There's just testimonials on top of testimonials of people who are landing gnarly jobs, and also videos that you can watch from their training experience, so on and so forth. So if you're interested in any one of those things, the How to Stripe course, picking up some parking lot striping equipment, or some in-person training, be sure to check out those links that are in the description of this video. Now, for today's video, here's what we're going to do for the first half of the live stream. It's going to be, I'm going to be asking Jack some questions because he has made the decision to go full-time in his parking lot striping business. So the first half of the live stream, I'm going to be asking Jack several questions. And then the second half of the live stream, we're going to open it up for a Q&A. So if you're someone who's been thinking about going full-time, you're right on the edge, you don't know if you should do it, that's what I'm going to be talking about with Jack here in today's live stream. And that is, when is the best time to go full-time in your striping business? So Jack, with all that being said, how's it going, man? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Chris. I'm fired up, ready to go.
That's awesome, bro. Well,
Yes,
I'm excited for you, to be honest with you. This is going to be a really good live stream.
Thanks, man. Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready for it all.
Perfect. Now, if you don't mind, man, just go ahead and tell us really just about how you got into parking lot striping to begin with.
Yeah, so we'll go to the very start. My whole life I've just been constantly looking for a side hustle. What's the next way to make money on the side, whatever. And obviously I'm working my full-time job, and my boss had just kind of mentioned that we need to get our parking lot striped. And I was like, I wonder if that's something I can do. And so I kind of just was on YouTube scrolling. I remember seeing a TikTok of like someone striping a parking lot. And I was like, shoot, I could probably do that. And I think it was one of Chris's videos was talking about that little Titan 850. It's made for field striping. So I found someone that was selling a Titan 850, like $1,900, I think. I just bit the bullet, bought that machine, bought some paint, and was like, all right, I'm going to stripe the parking lot. And before I striped that parking lot, though, I had watched all of Chris's videos, like literally bottom to the very last video that he posted. And I took the How to Stripe course because I was like, for the money you spend on that, I'm like, I'm going to at least see if I can turn this into a money-producing side hustle. Took the How to Stripe, got to the parking lot, started striping that parking lot. Had a lot of things that I just did not know how to handle. It was very difficult. And luckily, with the How to Stripe course, you get access to that Discord. So I hit the Discord up and it was like, hey, my machine's spraying inconsistent lines. This is the machine I have. 5 people instantly told me what to do. Turned my pressure up, got the parking lot striped. That same day, went and striped my boss's friend's parking lot. 2 very small parking lots, but just enough to, get some pictures. Off Chris's videos, I knew, okay, I got to get a Google page going and an Instagram and a Facebook. So I just posted all those pictures up. And at no point was this an operating business. It was like, I can just prove that I've done work and I can, try to get some parking lots on the side. Basically from there, I actually got lucky somehow with a Google page off 2 Google reviews, got a phone call from a property manager. I think they were based out of Texas or something, and they had 4 schools here that they needed striped. And he asked me, do you do striping and crack sealing? And I just told him, yeah, I do. I didn't even really know what crack sealing was, to be honest with you. I went on YouTube, started looking up, Asphalt Kingdom videos, all these things. Ended up just ordering a crack seal machine, paid $2,000 for that. I know you can charge up to $1 a linear foot based off YouTube stuff that I learned. And went crack sealed, striped that first parking lot for that school district. A lot of problems on that job. You're learning. I've never had in-person training. Everything that I knew was from How to Stripe and YouTube. And so I'm just out there, basically, which is, I'm glad that I did it, throwing yourself in the fire. That's the best way to learn. Got that parking lot striped, did the next 3 for him the month later, and then did a small parking lot striping job for a lady that I guess she kind of works at my full-time job. She like comes in and manages stuff. She needed a parking lot striped, so I went and did that one. By then I'm starting to, get some experience, kind of understand what to do, how to price things and whatnot. So I was kind of like, I want to take this to the next level and really see if I can get some jobs coming in and be more professional. So started working on getting a website, and better quality Google pictures, doing some cold calls, asking people if they know anyone with a parking lot that needs striped. I actually ended up cold calling a property manager that I got the number from the ladies at my bank. And they told me, or I called her, tried to get the parking lot. It's a shopping mall that's like close to where I live. And she got my estimate, never heard back from her for like 3-4 months. So I followed up and I was like, hey, I never heard back from you on that quote that I sent you. She ended up telling me that they went with repaving that property instead of striping it. But she said, we're accepting bids for our Colorado Springs property. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll go up there and walk it with you. And at this point, I've got some experience. I've done some striping. I've done some crack sealing. I've done some pothole repair. I've watched hundreds of YouTube videos, a lot of self-education. I just walked on there and acted like I knew exactly what I was doing, and I've done it 1,000 times. And I walked the whole property with her, pointed out details to her, told her what I was going to do, how I was going to get it done, and just made her feel really comfortable, try to be very personable with her and just kind of sell her and talk to her more as like a friend and be very personable with her to make her feel comfortable. And that job, when that job hit, that is what made me realize that I had the capability to grow this into something much more than just making a couple grand here and there on the side. I sent her the estimate for $10,300, and it came in over $3,000 higher than another company that's been in business for about 30 years. And she called me back and said, we want to use you no matter what. You got the job. She sent me the estimate that the other company sent her and said, no matter what, we're going to go with you at your price, but we just want you to know that this is the price they came in at. So if you can kind of get close to that, that'd be great. If not, no worries. We're going to use you regardless. So I think I took like $1,500 off and said, I don't want to devalue the work that I provide, but I also want to build a relationship and do future projects with you guys. So I took that off. They were super happy. That parking lot was one of the hardest months that I've ever experienced, ever, probably. It was overnight. It was a big shopping mall. It's got food restaurants, banks, liquor stores. It was like 8 businesses, and then on the other side was 2 more businesses. And it was technically 2 separate buildings. We worked overnight Obviously, I'm working my full-time job, so it's only Saturdays and Sundays that I'm working overnight every night of October on the weekend. And there was a lot of stuff in there: stencils, directional arrows, drive-throughs, fire lanes, compact parking stalls, probably every color of striping paint you can think of, bollard pulls, stuff that I've never done. And I just was like, there's nothing to it but to do it, you know? So we went out there every night and just killed it. The machine that I had was not working good. So I was like, we're going to pack up and leave. I drove 4 hours the next day and spent $7,000 on a brand new machine and was like, I'm not going to mess this parking lot up. That parking lot paid off that machine. She ended up loving everything about the parking lot, said that she's going to send all her work to me. I actually am getting coffee with her in a couple weeks, and she's a great lady. She's got work lined up for me already. And it was that job specifically that just changed my outlook on everything. And it's been going really good since. So that's kind of how it started out, Chris.
Perfect. Now, a couple of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is very interesting about Jack, for the people that are listening to this, remember the title of the video is "When is the perfect time to go full time in your parking lot striping business?" Now, the question was, how did Jack get into striping? Okay. First thing, number one, is he developed the proof of concept. Jack just didn't decide randomly because he watched one YouTube video, I'm going to quit my job and go full time doing something that I haven't even developed the proof of concept yet for. So that's key. Number one, he developed the proof of concept. Number two, Jack wasn't afraid to take action. For those of you that are going to watch this live stream, listen, you cannot be afraid to take action. He invested in himself and got some education in regards to the need to acquire the skill set to go out and produce the results because he saw potential in himself. He wasn't afraid to take action. Not only that, number three is he stayed consistent in his follow-up approach. He made time and effort. He was diligent in going out and attempting to acquire customers. And that is important for someone who is attempting to go full time, especially whenever you don't have consistent leads that are coming to you. And when Jack first started, that wasn't the case. It also something that he liked or something that I liked that he touched on was his ability to sell the job. He positioned himself in such a way where he was the subject matter expert in the perception of the customer that he was dealing with. Jack, let me ask you this. For someone who's just getting started, give us some advice. If I come up to Jack and I'm like, hey, how do I sell a 10K job if I'm just getting started? Tell us how to sell a $10,000 job if you're just getting started parking lot striping.
Well, number one is there's a level of fake it until you make it that's kind of true. Obviously, you're not faking any of the work you do. If you do a terrible job, that's the name. That's how you're going to represent your company and your name and who you are. But me walking onto that job, you have to walk on with confidence. You have to speak with confidence. You have to sound like you're going to make them so comfortable, and this is how you're going to take care of them and give them a step-by-step process. And you have to be self-educated enough to, even if you haven't done certain jobs, you have to have self-educated enough to know how to speak about them and sound educated, because there's a level to where I'm 20 years old, you know, I'm a young kid. When I walk onto a project where someone's going to pay me thousands of dollars, their first initial, and I can see it every time they look at me, is who is this young kid? So I immediately have to sound educated. I have to make them feel comfortable. I have proof of work. So the number one thing is, I think, is confidence, is when you're talking to these people. If you walk out there and you talk to a property manager or a business owner or, you know, a shop owner or anyone, and you sound almost like you're not confident in yourself and not telling them like, hey, this is going to be easy. We're going to get this done like this, and this, and we're going to take care of you, and you're going to be super happy. If you're kind of like, yeah, you know, I think we're going to, you know, it's going to turn out good. Well, obviously, we'll stripe it. You know, I mean, I'm a little worried, but I mean, like, if you just don't talk with confidence, you're not going to get the job because they're not going to trust you. So you got to believe in yourself, and you got to talk with confidence, and you know, I mean, that's the biggest thing, I think, is the confidence in yourself and in your product. Chris.
And what would you say to walk us through your interaction from the time you first made contact with that property owner, how she found you, and then how you were able to position yourself from start to finish to land that job? Walk us through that.
So, like I was saying, it started from a cold call. The ladies that when I set my business bank account up, the ladies at my bank were like, "Hey, we had a community meeting, and this lady Nancy was talking about she needs to get her parking lot striped." So I was like, "Well, how do I get in contact with this lady Nancy?" They wrote me down her real name and last name and phone number, and I just called her. And honestly, the time that I called her, like I was in no position to be calling somebody like that and trying to get the kind of buildings that they manage. But I didn't even think about it. Like you can overthink things and you're never going to take action. You have to just say, I'm going to do it. And once you're in the fire, that's how you're going to progress and learn. And if you don't make mistakes and you're not wrong sometimes, you can never learn. So that's something I've been big on. But I cold called her. I just let her know, hey, this is Jack with whatever, whatever. And, I heard from so and so over here, the ladies over here, that you were looking for some parking lot striping in your building. So I asked them to get in contact with you. They're super nice ladies, and they said that you're a super nice lady yourself. You have to compliment them. Already off the bat, I don't want to sound like, oh, who's this contractor just calling me? I want to just be personable. And so right away, she's like, yeah, we were talking about getting that stripe, whatever. And so we had a small conversation there about the building, what they want to get done. Do they have a company? I was like, do you have a company that normally does it for you? And which is normally, I would not say that now, but she was like, yeah, we usually collect bids from a few different companies. And I was like, well, I'd love to get a bid out to you. We're one of the best rated in the area, which actually wasn't even true at the time, but she didn't know that. And ended up sending her that quote. But it was the follow-up process because I never heard from her. I could have just been like, oh, that's a loss and been whatever. The follow-up process of, hey, I never heard from you about this quote. Is there anything I can do? Are you guys looking at moving forward on this? And she's like, we decided to go with repaving that property. We're accepting bids for the Colorado Springs property. I would love to get an estimate from you. I said, great, let's get it done. She's actually the one that said, when do you have a time to meet on site? Now, when she said that, I was a little bit nervous because I'd never really met anyone on site or anything like that. I didn't even really know that that's how it worked, to be honest with you. And I was like, well, I've got a super busy. I didn't say anything about me having a full-time job. I didn't say anything about that this is my side job. I just said I've got a really busy schedule. We're super booked out. The only times in the next few weeks that I can make it to you would have to be around 5 p.m. She said, that's no problem. Let's meet at 5 p.m. So I just made myself cleaned up, put some boots and jeans on, went out there, met her, walked up, said, are you so-and-so? Went up, shook her hand, said, thank you so much for meeting me out here. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to meet me. I said, well, let's walk around the property. So what I asked her, I said, explain to me kind of what's going on. Is it just the striping you guys want to get done? Is there anything else that's a concern to you that I can help you with? And she just kind of said, this building over here, we for sure need to get striped. And this building over here, we're not sure if we're going to get striped depending on the price, because it had been striped 2 years ago and it wasn't that bad. And so I just walked through with her. We went to every single parking spot. And what I was doing wasn't just saying, we can stripe that. Oh, we'll have to prep this and then stripe that. I was going to individual lines and where stencils were and where crosswalks were and pointing things out like, hey, you see how you can see where someone's painted this stencil and you can see the old stencil below it. I said, that's really just, in all honesty, kind of just like a lazy way of going through it. And I told her, I said, obviously I'm young. I haven't been in business for 20 or 30 years. I don't have 15 employees. But what I can tell you is that I do really good work. I do honest work. If there was ever something wrong, I'm the guy that you can call, and I'm going to come out and make it right. And I do not cut corners. So this was a big selling point. What I told her was, I said, these big companies that have been in business for a long time and they have 15, 20 employees or maybe 10 employees, they're going to send a crew out here They're going to stripe your parking lot in 1 or 2 nights, and then they're going to be gone, and they're going to collect your money, and they honestly might not care if you ever call them back. I said, I am building a brand. If I don't do a good job on this parking lot, I can lose my entire business. So I have everything on the line, and there's no way that I will leave this parking lot without it being perfect. And that's why I was pointing out so many things that like you really wouldn't point out on a parking lot striping job, because those are the things that like happen sometimes and most customers will not notice. I pointed everything out to her, and I said, this is the kind of stuff that can happen, but we avoid it and we take the time to make sure that it doesn't. And the reason I'm telling you this is because when we walk through the parking lot, when it's done and everything looks great, you might see a couple of these mess ups, but you're not going to see 20, 30, 40 in a consistent pattern. If it happens, we correct and we move on and we provide good work. And because of me talking to her like that and pointing that stuff out and letting her know, like, hey, yeah, I haven't been in business for 30 years, but I do good work. And if I don't do a good job, I don't have a company. I think that was a big selling point to her and made her feel very comfortable. Like, wow, this guy really is going to take care of us no matter what. And he really cares. Like, I'm not just the guy that comes out and lays paint down. Like, I really care about what I'm doing. Even though I didn't really know what I was doing, that's how you have to talk to him. Now I'm at a point where I'm very comfortable. I walk out there and I can look at everything and be like, oh, this is going to take us 2 hours. At that point, I was like, I'm in over my freaking head, but this is the kind I need to land. Like, I was seeing dollar signs walking around that parking lot at everything, all the stencils and everything. So I was seeing dollar signs, but trying to make her comfortable. And it was about, once we walked everything, I told her, I said, give me till the end of tomorrow. I'll get the estimate together. I'll email it to you. Emailed it to her. She called me back 2 days later and said, we're going to use you. And that's when she was explaining about the other company coming in a little bit lower, but no matter what, they're going to use me. Me taking that money off of the estimate really made them happy, because it proved, hey, I'm not all about the paycheck. I'm not going to devalue my service, but I'm going to take some off because I care about building a long-term relationship and coming back and servicing your guys' properties. That's more important to me than a paycheck. And I just had that conversation with the same lady 2 weeks ago about some other projects she has coming up, and she's just all about it. I mean, it feels like I'm talking to a friend on the phone now because of how I've created that. So that was the whole process of that, Chris.
Look, that was phenomenal. I mean, having no experience, this guy walks on a job site. His first big job, sells a 10K job. What was it, your third job?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Third job off of a cold call, sells a 10K job. What's your excuse for not being able to close jobs? You don't have one, especially if you're hearing from a guy who's able to walk up on his third job, make a cold call, and then sell it. Now, what I really, really liked, a couple of things about what Jack said. Number one, he asked probing questions. Who, what, when, where, why? Who was the contractor that did this? What did they do it for? When did they do it last? And then she talked about where the locations were. He asked probing questions, causing her to internally reflect, right? Not only that, but he followed up. He asked her several times, how can we move forward? Y'all, if you're going to stay full-time, if you're going to go full-time and then leave your job, you have to constantly advance the sales forward. You can't let them become stagnant. You have to constantly be progressing forward in your sales approach, no matter what it is that you're doing. And I like how he did that. He instituted the squeeze also. Whenever he made contact, he said, listen, I have limited availability, but I want to be able to get you in. This is the time frame in which I'm able to do this. And she said, okay, let's meet. So he put the squeeze on her. A lot of times we do that, especially if we're booked up. Just got back from a quote today where the contractor was like, please, can you get us in? I said, man, we're too busy. I can't. He said, please. I said, okay, well, I can get you in for this price. It's called instituting the squeeze. You're putting pressure on them to make a decision, an intent purchasing decision rapidly, a lot faster. It's going to help you make more money, increase sales, and then get you another customer. Not only that, last thing in relation to this subject is Jack was relatable. Y'all, if you don't walk up on a parking lot striping job and you're not relatable to the person that you're trying to sell, right? If you're not relatable, you can forget it. these people have to be able to relate to you. And I like what Jack said. I can't afford not to do a good job. And it should be like that every single time we touch a parking lot. Phenomenal. I hope you guys that are watching this live stream are taking down notes. You should be taking down notes every single time we do these live streams, because this is only going to help you get better. And that's what we do these for. Jack, if you don't mind, let me ask you this. Tell me about how you went about putting in the notice at your full-time job, and what made you think that you can go full-time in your business. Tell us about that.
So here's the point that I kind of got to. I started working there as soon as or in high school, and then as soon as I graduated high school, went full-time. I've been there about 4 years now, and I make very good money. I'm a very good installer. I install windshields is what I do, and it's a very great workplace. We're like a family there, and not only is it hard to walk away from very good money that I make consistently, it's hard to walk away from a group of people like that just where they all have your back. My boss is someone that started his company when he was young like me by himself, and he's grown into something very, very huge. So the way that I did it is, I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I've known since I was young I want to have my own company or some sort of own business and build like an empire of my own, I guess you could say. And for the last few months, it's really been hitting me heavy, especially being in the mentorship and seeing all these guys win. And now that I've built my Google business page up and I've been getting phone calls and actual just natural traffic calls, over the last month, I got about 3 phone calls, which for me is really good. And they were all pretty decent tickets. And then I also made literally one day decided I'm going to cold call today. And because I'm trying the most that I can, but I have limited time. So if I'm making a cold call, I might be able to make 1 or 2 after work. I made 1 and landed that job instantly, or not instantly. She sounded like she really wasn't interested, but she said, send me a quote. It was a week later that I called that same lady and said, this is again with the leverage, Chris. I literally looked at my coworker when I made that call and I said, hey, this lady I'm not going to get this job. But I called her back. I said, hey, I'm getting super busy. I need to know if I should leave this estimate open if you guys want to move forward with it, or if I should just close it out. I left her a message. I said, if I don't hear from you in the next couple of days, I'm just going to close it out. She called me back in 20 minutes and said, put us on the schedule for June 2nd. And this is all, during the process of me thinking am I going to leave my job or not? Because when you make good money and then you start making money like this on the side, you kind of you can get comfortable super easy. And so I've been doing a lot of thinking, I've talked to some other people, and it just kind of got to the point of if I can do to the level that I've gotten to at a young age on the side, really, putting in a lot of effort, but minuscule effort compared to what I can do if I was full time and had all day, every day to hammer it, then if I am doing that, then why would I not quit my job? And, you're never going to be ready. This is a big thing that I've instilled in my mind and heard from people. You're never going to be ready to quit your job. There's never going to be a perfect time. It's either you're going to quit and light that fire under your butt and put your back against the wall, and that's when you're going to operate the right way, or you're just going to keep waiting till you're comfortable and be like, no, I want to have 10 grand. No, I want to have 20 grand safe. No, I'm not going to quit till I have 50 grand safe. And you're going to keep doing that, because that's exactly what I've been doing for the last 6 months. And finally, I was like, you know what? I got a call last weekend for a crack seal job. It's only $1,200, but I was like, I literally answered the call. This is while I'm thinking about quitting my job in my head. Landed it immediately for this coming Saturday. I'm like, what am I doing, man? So I walked into my boss's office the next day, and I just, we're more on a friend relationship. I had a conversation with him. I said, hey, I love working here. I love the whole crew. You've taught me a lot. I really look up to you and how you've run your business. I've learned a lot from you. I've learned a lot from a lot of people here, and I really appreciate the opportunity you gave me hiring me so young. But I just am at the point where I want to take my striping, and he knows I've been doing the striping. He's been supportive of it. I was like, I'm at the point where I want to pull the trigger and take my striping to the next level. And I think if I don't do it now, I'm going to get too far down the road and I'm never going to do it. And I was like, I see everything that you've built here with your business, and I want to build something like that for myself. And if I don't put my back against the wall and try as hard as I can now, I'm going to keep putting it off, and it's going to be 5 years down the road, or it's going to be never. And he just looked at me and he goes, dude, you'd be stupid if you didn't quit. He goes, if you're thinking like that, he goes, you'd be stupid if you didn't. He goes, he just wanted me to leave at a respectable time so he can get someone else in there. He was fully supportive of it. And, I told him, I said, I don't want to burn any bridges. I don't want to leave and be like, yes, screw you guys. I'm going to go start my company. I left cordial terms, made sure that nothing was negative, and he's like, if you ever need something, you come back and talk to me. And when you leave things on good terms like that, and you don't burn bridges, I think that can take you very far in life. And so I just went about it, and I'm terrified as I'm making that decision. Like, I still am like, you have that feeling of like, shoot, I'm really about to be full time. Like, you eat what you kill. If you don't go out and kill, you're not eating. You're not making any money. So you're nervous in that fact, but there's going to be a point when your back's against the wall. You're gonna go out and figure something out, and that's just how I am. Like, I'm always like, I'll figure it out. So that's how I went about it. And now I'm a month out from being full time, and I'm ready to go, man. So that's where I'm at, Chris.
Look, that is absolutely amazing. For those of you that are watching, he said, you eat what you kill. There is a big difference from a guy who's making 150 grand in a corporate level job that's getting started and a guy who's making $30,000 at a fast food restaurant. Two totally different mentalities going into the jungle, if you would say. Look, Jax couldn't have said it better. Whenever I'm out here and we're working, I think of like a safari with a watering hole. I'm not kidding. I'm serious. I think of like a safari in a watering hole, and I'm a lion right there, and I'm watching these zebras and these gazelles and these animals and all these little people, gathering at this watering hole. And I think about that alligator that's down there, which might be a competitor, and he's down there looking from that angle, and I'm over here as a lion looking from this angle. And look, that's what it takes. It takes that mentality that if I don't go out and snap the neck of a gazelle and bring it back, the tribe's not going to eat. And you have to have that same mentality. So if you're a guy who's making 150 grand, you're thinking, well, I can kind of relax because my paycheck's going to be 10 grand this month. The guy who's making 30 grand, making $600 a week, he can't afford to think like that. See, that's where I came from. I came from a low wage position where you're working, 40, 50, 60 hours a week just to make it, and multiple jobs, and you don't have enough. And if you don't go out and get another job, you won't have enough to support your family. You won't have enough to make it for the tribe. So that mentality was just ingrained in me that I've got to go out and get it no matter what the circumstances are. And man, that is very, very encouraging to me how Jack positioned that. Now, let me ask you this, bro. You brought up the collective. You brought up the private coaching program. You've really been in it since it started. If you can, tell me about how being in that private program has made a positive impact on you deciding to go full-time, and then how it's helped you. Because, well, just talk about all the training that we've done in it so far since you got started.
Well, why would you not, bro? Like, that's almost a crazy question to ask. It's like, I mean, if you want to take something serious, you're either going to take it serious or you're not. And there's a difference between someone that wants it and it's going to go out and, get it done no matter what, and the person who's going to, it's talk about it or be about it. You know what I mean? So you're either talking about it and you're like, yeah, I might do this. I'm going to go stripe a parking lot. And, I think next week I'll work on my website, and in a couple weeks I'll get my Google going. That guy's never going to make it. You got to hammer it. And so, when I was watching all your YouTube videos, Chris, I'm watching other people's too, but you went live one day and I was commenting on it. And then you said, text me. I texted you. We hopped on a phone call that day and you said, I've got a collective for a certain amount of money every month. And we were in there and we talk about what to like, how to get wins and step-by-step processes on how you can progress in your business, which first of all, you can give someone you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So there might be people in the call right now that aren't going to make any money because they're not applying what you learn. But the people that are in there and are really about it, we're a family in the call. If Chris makes 10 grand, Chris makes 50 times more money than I make, but I'm like, hell yeah, Chris, that's awesome. If I make 10 grand, Chris is like, that's everyone's firing you up, but then they don't let you be fired up for too long. They're like, okay, you made your money. What are you going to do tomorrow? You might have 10 grand, but what are you going to do next week? So it's a group of people holding each other accountable. Because why would you not spend some money if you want to take something serious? Why would you not spend money and try to be serious about it and really learn and educate yourself and be around other people who are doing the same business in the same position that you're in? I mean, that's almost even just a crazy question. Like 100%. It's been a great experience. We all hold each other accountable. Everyone that's in the call, it'd be embarrassing for any of us to end up leaving that call unless it was like we're doing super good. We don't need to be here anymore. You know what I mean? Which is not going to be there. But it'd be embarrassing if someone just dropped out because we're all fired up all the time. I mean, it's almost a no-brainer to me. But
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
I mean, look, we've got so many people who just stack wins in there. It's material like cold calling. I mean, little tweaks about cold calling. Like a lot of people start off by cold calling, right? And they're not really refined at calling, but then you learn skill sets in cold calling, uh, LinkedIn strategies. I mean, there's all sorts of strategic things that we cover in that program, and it's so cheap too. It's for a fraction of the price, and I just don't see how somebody wouldn't want to be in it. But so many people are cheap, bro. It's like they're so cheap, and that they wouldn't even. I mean, it's just crazy. So let's open it up for Q&A. Brian says, so glad that I showed up. I have so many questions. Brian, we are fixing to get to your questions right now. Post your comments and questions for Jack in the comment section, and we're going to get to him. Stencil Plus says persistence is key. Yeah, Jeff.
yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Jeff, for the comment, bro. I really, really appreciate it. This is a good question for you, Jack. Jeff says, what would be your 1-year goal and your 5-year goal? Hang on one second. So Jeff says, what would be your 1-year goal and your 5-year goal? Have you thought about that?
Is that like for me personally, or like if I was starting out again? Like,
For
what
you?
was
No, yeah,
my?
yeah. No, for you personally, go ahead and just lay it out. What's your 1-year goal and your 5-year goal? This is something that we talked about. We talked about
Yeah,
1-year goals on
yeah.
our last call. So what's your 1-year goal and your 5-year goal?
So my original 1-year goal, there wasn't one. It was like I just want to make some money on the side, and then did pretty good on the side. But my 1-year goal for now, I want to make six figures. So honestly, if I cash a $5,000 check tomorrow, I don't really care because until I see a six-figure number by the end of 2025, I'm not going to be satisfied. And if I don't hit six figures, I'm going to hit 200 grand next year because it's like I'm not setting small ceilings. If you set a small ceiling, you're going to go out and be like, okay, well, I only need to get a couple $500 jobs here and there. I think a realistic goal for myself now, I don't see why doing crack sealing, seal coating, and striping, all three that I have machines for, I'm ready to go. There's no reason I shouldn't do six figures end of 2025. But my 5-year goal would be, I mean, I'd like to be at least consistently hitting 250,000 a year in 5 years. I think that that's very realistic. If I go about it the way that I envision in my mind, and I pray and hope it goes that way with a lot of hard work and determination, I don't see why I can't have a $500,000 business within 5 years and a couple guys working for me or something, and have a little crew going. I think that's very, very possible.
100%. Look, I'm gonna show you guys something. All right. A lot of you people that are gonna watch, you're watching this live stream, you're gonna laugh at me. Okay. We talked about a specific target number. All right. Whether your goal is to hit 100K, 200K, 250,000, 500,000, whatever your own personal goals are. Okay. In the collective last week, what was it? Who was it? Who was it in the coaching program last week, Jack, that wanted to make 300,000? Who was it?
That was Andrew.
Andrew. Okay, so
Yeah.
Andrew wanted to make his goal for his 1-year goal that we talked about last week in our call was to make $300,000. And I asked him, I said, well, how are you going to do it? The same thing that I ask a lot of other people, and he was just like, well, I'm going to do this. And I don't really know how we're going to accomplish it, but that's my goal, right? I have one of my coaching customers who's in one of our high ticket programs. Same exact thing. He was like, hey, I want to add an additional 250,000 in revenue. How do you think I should go about doing it? This is exactly what I showed him. Where's it at? I don't know where my marker is. All right. I don't know where my marker is. I got my whiteboard behind me, but I'll just draw it on my piece of paper. Super simple. I mean, and whenever I showed him this and I showed people in the collective this, they thought I was nuts and they were all laughing at me. So first, I know Jack was laughing at me too, but it's true.
It's pretty good.
It was, dude, it's brilliant. Okay, so here's the first thing, all right? For those of you that are watching, this is what you want to do. You want to add an extra $250,000, 250,000 gross revenue, right? So here's a little stick figure guy, right? Here it is right here, all right? Here's how we begin the process. I'm going to show you how simple it is. We're going to simplify the process, and we're going to take away the complexities. So you determine your number. In this case, the person that was in the high ticket program, that he paid a lot of money for me to show you guys what you're learning in this live stream right now. He paid a lot of money for me to show him this. I'm showing him more stuff too, but it's just about simplifying the process, taking away the complexity, showing you how easy it is. Here it is right here. I said, this is how it starts. See, little guy right here, boom, blank circle, nothing inside of it. Here's how it starts. You decide what you want to do. So 250 in 1 year, right? So the first thing you do is you make it detailed and you start thinking about it, right? It sounds very, very simple, but whenever we're scrambling around, it's not broken down, it's not structured, it's not detailed. We're just starting to do it this way. And it's not really dialed in. The process isn't dialed in now, right? Now, here's the thing right here. Second thing, first, it has to be in here. Then what we have to do is we have to take it from here. We put it here, right? So we write our plan of action. Now, very simple. Y'all should be following me with this. Very simple. Boom, starts up here. We take it from our head, our goal, right? I don't know if you can see that on my camera, but then we put it right there on paper, right? So then it becomes, we take it from here, we put it right there, then it becomes a plan of action, right? A lot of you are just cracking up right now, but I'm showing you how simple this is and how we overcomplicate it. All right. And then we take it from here and then we put it right there. Super simple, bro. Like, you'll sit at your desk. It's not nothing to sit at your desk and crank out 100K in estimates, right? And then you might have to adjust your pricing. So, and before you know it, then people accept it. And before you know it, like, you're thinking, man, I didn't really think that I was going to hit 250 this year. And then I get to 250. And you're thinking, dang, I wonder if I'm going to get to 500 this year as far as accepted estimates. And then before you know it, you're like, dang, I'm on track to hit 500. And then you start thinking and meditate within yourself, like, man, I wonder if I can hit an M this year, in gross revenue. I wonder if I could do it. So what I'm saying is it begins with a plan of action. And then once you get it in here, you go to implementation from the plan of action, and then you just try to implement the plan of action that you create. Really, really not that simple. And ultimately what happens is we overcomplicate the process. I know a lot of you guys are cracking up laughing at me right now, but I promise you, write that down. Take a picture of that right there in the live stream, write it down, draw that same exact picture, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, draw that picture and then look at it. And there you go. A guy paid a lot of money for me to sit here and tell him that. And all y'all just got that for free. All right. So let's get back to the questions.
It's true, though.
Oh, it's 100% true.
You just got to jump in and do it.
Brand is everything. Stencil Plus. I really, really like that. Here's a good one, Jack. He says, do you have to have a contractor's license to get started?
That's a very good question because, one, I think it depends on the state. I was really concerned about that when I started out. Now, you don't need a contractor's license in my state to start parking lot striping. And I honestly don't think that you do it in most states. As far as like crack sealing goes, I don't think you do as well. But seal coating, Now, I just am now getting the seal coating. So for my state, I actually have to do some research and see if I need to get some licensing myself. But as far as I know, I mean, there is for striping, you don't in most states, and I think that most parking lot striping companies, I guarantee you, they don't have a contractor's license. Now, if you have one, um, that gives you a lot of leverage on other people. So I plan on getting one regardless. I don't know, Chris, do you have a contractor's license?
I don't, bro. Luckily, the state that I'm in, we're not required to have one. I know that in states like California and Arizona, stuff like that, you have to have some sort of contractor's license. But for where I'm at, we don't have to. Luckily, we live in a in a pretty red state, so we don't have to worry about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of. I know for sure where I'm at with line striping, I'm good. But as far as seal coating goes, I have to do some research on that. So I mean, for anyone in any state, that's definitely a self education thing, and probably have to go on some different websites to figure that out.
Perfect. Yeah, yes, sir. You're right about that. And Brian says, where do you find answers about your stripe machine? Well, Brian, I'm glad you asked. If you're able to, you can always go to uh, mystripingstore.com and you can click on right here and whatever you're wanting to know about the machine, you could just click right there at mystripingstore.com. And then if you have any questions about the machine, you can read the description here about whatever particular machine that you're looking for, whether it's Graco 3400, Titan 3500, Graco 3900, hydraulic 130, whatever machine you're looking for, you could always read the description and find out more about that particular machine at mystripingstore.com. And then whenever you get ready to add a new machine to your fleet, just go check out that website, purchase it from there, and that's the best way to find out something about your striping machine.
And if you need to know how to work it, you'll take the How to Stripe course.
Yeah, look, Jack's plugging it. Look, you want to learn how to run it? Go take the How to Stripe course. We got so many people there in the six-figure club now. I mean, people with zero experience, never done this before in their life. Take the training, get a machine, go out, run six figures. It's really, really not that hard. But when you have a paycheck mentality, bro, and you've never done it before, the hardest part is making that first six figures. I promise you. And then after that, it's like you start finding little intricate ways of how to land more jobs. And it kind of becomes like a fun game to you of like how to get more customers, but getting your first 100K, that's the hardest part. Everything else kind of flows in because you're able to repeat that process and go, okay, this worked last year. This is what I need to do this year. And then you make those tweaks, those changes, and really like your first hundreds, the hardest to get. I think for me, that was my experience. Let me see. I'm looking at some questions. All right, Brian says this, Jack. Did it take you long from the thought of the idea before you took action to look for jobs? I don't think so at all.
Dude, a week. Like a week, and it was probably about, he said need a parking lot striped. I thought about it. Within 2 weeks, I was in Pueblo, Colorado, 2 hours away from where I'm at, buying the machine. I was ordering stuff online. I was at Home Depot buying chalk lines and all kinds of stuff. That some of the stuff I don't even use. Like I was just looking up, what do I need? And dude, I was spending money like crazy just to go because I was like, screw it. It's either going to work out or it's not. So it was like I opened my LLC and everything that same week. From the time I did all that, a month later, I did my first parking lot. But yeah, no, I took action right away. I was like, screw it, I'm just going to do this. And I had money saved up, so I was like, let's go.
100%. Yeah, see, Jack's not like the normal guy that's like, man, I got $25 in my bank account. I'm thinking about going full time. You think I should do it? I mean, he saved up money. He was responsible with his finances. And, a lot of people get started or want to get started and don't have any money saved up and have been financially irresponsible. And that was how it was whenever I got started, right? Like I was living paycheck to paycheck, had a family I had to support. I didn't have enough money to save in order to do that. Hey, Jack, somebody that I know said, if you're in Colorado, there's a contact for a guy that called a friend of mine. So if you want a job in Colorado, I can give you a friend of mine's number after the live stream, and you can Dude, my phone goes off
Let's
all the
do it,
time
man.
for people that won't work. I know people all over the nation that do this.
It's awesome.
So sorry about that, guys. Yeah, bro, thanks. That's a bit my business partner and a good friend of mine in another business that we run
Awesome.
together. O'Quinn is the guy. O'Quinn is the guy. He says, Jack, how did you get referrals?
Referrals, meaning like getting referred to people to do it.
How do you get referrals? Um, and this is like this is the guy. This is like the guy in my state. I mean, this is the guy. I mean, O'Quinn is somebody that we're 15 minutes away. We've went to church together, had lunch together. Super solid guy. He's one of the best, if I'm being quite honest. He is one of the best people that are in the industry that are in the state that I live in. So he's
Awesome.
asking, how do you get referrals, Jack?
Well, as far as I went about it, at first I leveraged my boss. I had a really good relationship with him, so I always thought, okay, who's someone that's in business that's doing good that I can go do something for at a cheap price or for free, do a good job, and have them recommend me to people. And that gave me just enough to get going. And then, like, as far as, like, for instance, I just got a call from Google and went out and did a crack seal restripe, $2,500, did it in 6 hours. The guy was watching us through his security cameras with like perfect audio and everything the whole time. And he was like, I saw you guys out there. You weren't messing around. You worked the whole time. You did a great job. He's like, I wanted to give you guys a shot. And he found us off Google and he goes, I have two people that I know that need parking lot stripe that I'm going to refer you to. And so my big thing that I've been doing is you can kind of tell when you're dealing with someone who it's not their first like rodeo striping, getting that kind of work done. And so my big thing is my first time dealing with someone, I try to give them a cheaper price and let them know like, hey, I want to, build a relationship with you. I'm going to give it to you for this price. And it's like, I mean, I think I took like $1,000 off what I would have normally charged that to. And he was super appreciative of it. He asked me to come back and like put some handicaps in for him and stuff at another parking lot he has. And then he referred me to two people. I hope that answers your question, but I'm not sure if it perfectly answered how he wants it answered.
No, that's all right. That's cool. He just wanted to know how you go about getting referrals. Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. Let me see. Alejandro says, do you have insurance in your first project? And if you recommend getting one when starting? Yeah, Alejandro, I mean, to be a legitimate company, I mean, you need to set up your entity and then immediately you need to get insurance before you even touch a parking lot. If something happens or you destroy someone's property, you definitely don't want to be sued. So I recommend getting insurance immediately just to be safe because you don't want to pull up on the job site and then go, oh, okay, I don't have insurance. I mean, it's like $40 a month. I mean, that's my insurance policy. Whenever I first got started, was $40. And then I think it was like, 20 or 25 to insure my line striper, my first line striper that I ever got. Yeah, you need to get insurance 100%. You'll get to the point where it's like, you've got your trailers, your line stripers, your seal coating machine, like your trucks, all that stuff will be on your insurance policy, whenever you're just starting out. Before you need to go get insurance, especially if you're going to do this really and start a business.
Now, I will say, my first few parking lots, I was not insured because I didn't really know what I was doing. Luckily, they were for people that I knew. So, if something went wrong, I wouldn't have been sued. But that I got insurance when I got that really big parking lot from that lady, Nancy, because she requested it. And I was like, I hadn't even thought about insurance. So I was scrambling to find insurance. And getting insured as a 20-year-old business owner is not easy. There was one company who would insure me, and I put $800 down. I pay $250 a month for $1 million policy. Really good coverage, but now I'm insured for everything. So like someone just requested a proof of insurance from the job that I got a call from off Google last week. Sent to me, no problem. It's just I would get insured right away if you can.
Heck yeah, 100%. And another person said, Outlaw Precision Painting says, I really need help to jumpstart my business? Well, precision. I mean, that's definitely something that we do. We help people do that. I mean, I could take a guy with zero experience from the ground up and teach him how to be a killer. I mean, I've done it so many times. I've got so many testimonials and so many people that I've taken that have zero experience, and then literally like they're awesome. I mean, they're killing it now. So I will say this: there are several options that we have too. Like if you're being serious too, and you want somebody to walk alongside you, we have several programs, right? We have people who like for more intimate, like high level stuff. Obviously, we have like one-on-one personalized mentorship programs. But if you're just like, wanting accountability, basically like structured training and stuff like that, Jackson the Collective, we have a collective program where pretty much we have calls bi-weekly. So every other Friday we have calls where you get homework assignments, check-ins and stuff like that. I mean, if you're really serious and you're wanting to have a group of people that are going to be in here with you and that are pushing you to kind of excel, then I would definitely check that out. That will be in the comment section and the description of this video. It's the collective program. So if you're interested in that, sign up for that. And we have all sorts of programs to help people, whether you're on a limited budget or, you've got a lot more of a budget to allocate towards like training and stuff like that. So you should check that out. J Doe says they're watching. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, keep on watching and hit that subscribe button and like the video. If you're hopping in the live stream, like the video. I really appreciate it. Jennifer says, howdy, Chris. It's me, Jennifer. LOL. I appreciate that. Listen, for those of you that are watching, this lady calls me, checks in with me, 1 or 2 times a week, and no machines, and she's out there selling jobs. So, for people who have machines and can't sell jobs, and then, they're wondering, well, what's the problem? Well, the problem if you can't sell jobs is you, because there's somebody that right there in the comment section right there who doesn't have a machine and yet sells jobs. And I think she was just waiting for the weather to clear last time I was talking to her, and then some insurance stuff. So Mark Anthony says, thank you. Maxime, I don't know how to pronounce that. Was it fun or painful to learn everything on the spot? We can learn a lot in the video, but I know we learn a lot by doing it. So
nothing about it was fun.
Yeah,
it wasn't fun until nothing about it was fun until I got my new machine and knew what I was doing after failing 60 times. I mean, dude, I had so many things go wrong on my first multiple parking lot. Like probably first 10 times I mobilized to do a parking lot, something went wrong. And it wasn't something small. It was something where I was like, what am I going to do? And I just, every time whoever was working with me, they're like crapping their pants, freaking out for me. I'm like, dude, there's nothing we can do but figure it out. You know what I mean? I've had stripers fail, taking them apart. I don't even know how to take them apart, cleaning tubes out, running to hardware stores to get tools and cleaning stuff out. I mean, postponing jobs to buy new equipment because I'm just like, screw it, I'm going to go buy something new. I've had one of my first jobs, it started to pour rain, and I took the trailer off my truck because someone that was working with me had to go to the store. They didn't want to drive the trailer. Left the tailgate down and started to pour rain. I go to put the trailer back on. I whip my truck around. 5 gallons of white paint falls out of the bed of the truck, dude, in the side of this parking lot on this road. So I had to go out there and paint everything black. But I was panicking because it was raining. There's 5 gallons of road striping paint out there. None of that's fun. It wasn't even fun when I got paid. The only time it's fun now is like that I kind of know what I'm doing. I get excited about it. But it's those moments like that where none of it is going to be fun that's going to either make or break you. You're going to push through those hard times and figure it out, or you're not going to, and you're going to fail and sell your equipment on Facebook Marketplace and go back to your job.
100%. No, not going to happen, Lord willing. Not going to happen. Lord willing. Definitely don't want that to happen. Y'all are cranking out the questions. I really, really appreciate it. This is a good live. I might start doing lives later on at night. This person says, are you charging per stall and stencil or linear foot? Well, It depends on your market rate. I'll tell you this, in the area that I'm at, I don't charge by linear foot. Now, if it's a massive job, obviously, like if there's 2, 3, 400 lines, yeah, I want to charge by linear foot. But dude, I charge by mobilization. So I have a specific target that I'm trying to hit whenever I pull the trailer out. And I charge a lot higher. I know I'm a lot higher than some of the people that are in my area. You know what I'm saying? And like, it just depends on how you position yourself, because someone might be charging linear foot as far as a linear foot price, right? And they might be charging 40 cents. But you might pull up on a job site, you might charge $2 a foot. And so it's not necessarily per foot price, because yeah, you need to take that into consideration. But I've talked about this in several videos. Your website, you know, how many Google reviews you have, what does your website look like, how good are you at selling? All these stuff make a difference. And if you just like, don't be the guy who's been doing this and they're like, I've been doing this 20 years and I'm still counting parking lot stalls, and I'm wondering, you know, like, get beyond that kind of stuff. Focus on elevating your positioning, focus on selling strategies, focus on how to engage the customer, and then create compelling offers, and then captivate that customer, drawing them into your funnel, increasing your close ratio by the way that you're able to communicate. Like, focus on these kind of things. And that's the kind of stuff that we talk about in the collective. Don't focus on, you know, if I can charge 20 cents or 30 cents per foot, then I'll be able to do this. And get away from thinking like that, because I promise you, you're missing out on so much money just by not elevating your positioning in the prospective customer's mind. Anyways, y'all, this live stream has been awesome. Go back and watch it. Take some notes. The first half of the live stream, Jack and I were talking about, you know, like how he decided to go into full time. And the second half was the Q&A. So, Jack, you got anything else for the people that have watched the live stream? Any advice? What's some advice you could give to the person who's on the fence, they're thinking about it, but they're not yet sure about going full time? What would you say?
I mean, not anyone can do it, but if you put your mind to it, you can do it. If the 20-year-old kid who's not even old enough to buy a beer can do it and go full time and see success in it, then I mean, if anyone can do it. I mean, if you go out and work hard, you can get it done for sure. You just have to be able to, you got to have that almost just killer's mindset of no matter what gets in front of you, you're going to run it over. You know, there's no just beating around the bush. You either do it or you don't, and it's going to suck. And you just got to push through it. And you got to self-educate. I mean, every single night, I haven't gone to bed for the last year without watching some sort of self-education video. And that's just how it has to be. So you got to decide if you want to do it. That's the main thing. And if you're going to do it, you got to go full force at it. That's my best advice.
That's perfect. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. If there's anybody, like, I'm telling you, if I'm being 100% honest, I talk with people all over the nation. I mean, all I do is centered around parking lot striping. So if I'm not in the field or I don't got somebody in the field, I'm sitting at my desk, I'm creating striping content, going to events, selling programs and trainings and all sorts of stuff. And as far as people that are considering going full-time, I'm telling you, without a doubt, Jack is one of the people that I know is going to succeed at this. And there's not a doubt in my mind that he's going to succeed in this. And so, y'all, I put my number in the chat. Like, a lot of people say they're serious about like getting to that next level and elevating and getting better. I put my number in the chat. If you guys are interested and you're being serious and you're like, hey, I'm stagnant, I want to get in a program and then like get better at doing this, I put my number in the chat. Send me a text message tonight, because my phone blows up. I promise you, if you don't text me tonight, it's going to get lost in the mountain of text messages that I have right now. I got 94 unopened text messages. So like, text me tonight if you're interested, and I can tell you about some of our options. If you have a higher budget or a lower budget, it doesn't matter. Like, we want to help everybody, but obviously we can't sit around and work for free. So if you guys are interested in that, send me a text message, 405-902-6154. Thanks for catching the live stream. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell icon, and we will see you in the next video.